My last Dark Knight review, do not make me review the original 80s Batman films. The Dark Knight Rises. Sorry, I already used that joke on my Pacific Rim Uprising, but I can do it here. I can. Alright, so The Dark Knight Rises is the third installment in what is one of my favorite trilogies, if not my favorite trilogy of all time, the Dark Knight trilogy. And it closes it off in such an awesome way. I feel like this film realizes it doesn't need to be The Dark Knight to be great. It can just be its own thing. That's what I loved about The Dark Knight Rises. Bane's a great villain. He is kind of creepy. You don't know much about him, but he's a pretty good villain. And I did really like the way this film is not a film you just watch just casually. Like Iron Man, you can just watch casually. This film you kind of have to lock in because it's an hour and 65 minutes, I believe, or basically 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is pretty long, but you know, for one of the best trilogies of all time, you have to conclude it with a big movie. And this film is big. You can almost compare it to history with the French Revolution. It's very similar to the French Revolution. You look at it, it's almost like a rising against the monarchy, which would be the Gotham, I guess. I guess you could just call it the monarchy of Gotham. This movie is totally awesome. Batman hasn't been Batman for, I don't know, was it 8 years? Yeah, he's hasn't been Batman for 8 years after the whole Dark Knight. He's not Batman anymore. And then eventually he hears about this Bane guy and he tries to go back in action. And dude, this guy is rusty. I mean, seriously, like, he battles Bane and Bane wrecks him. It's great. Oh no, it's great. Okay, it's pretty sad, I guess. I did really like the way that each film almost is taking place on its own area. Like, I felt like, let's say, Batman Begins almost takes place in the fall. It has that feeling of fall. The Dark Knight takes place in the summer. It has that bright sky. It has that feeling. And then this one takes place in the winter. And that's always a great way to finish off your trilogy and put it in the winter. Because, you know, the snow makes it so pretty. Even when it's a full-on war between cops and civilians. Still makes it pretty. I really did like Catwoman in this film. She's not my favorite. I mean, I thought Anne Hathaway did pretty good as Catwoman. Yeah. I kind of wanted more Alfred in this film, because Alfred was always kind of the funny comedy relief. He isn't really in this film much, but I think that, I guess, I don't know if it really helps the story. The film has one huge plot hole, and that is, how the heck did Batman get back into Gotham after being in that hole? What the heck? I mean, the whole city was blocked off. The U.S. Army couldn't get in. So how would Batman get in? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, you kind of have to forgive it because it's totally awesome. Guys, I didn't like The Dark Knight. I loved The Dark Knight. It was just so much fun, action. It wasn't really just dumb fun. It wasn't just pure fun. It was just pure greatness. I really loved The Dark Knight Rises. I feel like The Dark Knight Rises absolutely kills it as the final movie in the trilogy. And it really works. The ending of this film is completely awesome. I love the ending because it's just like, you come up with your own theories on how that happened. It's just so cool. The way at the end when he reveals his secret identity to Jeff Gordon is really cool. I really love the way he does that. It's like 15 years... Oh, how many years ago was that? Oh, shoot. Well, I'm doing the math here. Let's see. I guess 30 years ago. Dark Knight Rises takes place, I'm assuming, 30 years after the beginning of Batman Begins. That is cool. I mean, what I mean by 30 years is Batman's childhood, when his parents get killed, to when he quits being Batman. It's a complete 30 years. And that's really cool. I mean, the first Batman Begins, extends like 20 of those years, and then you have the Dark Knight. And then you have the Dark Knight, which doesn't last all that time. And then with the Dark Knight, and the Dark Knight Rises, they're completely separated by 8 years. So this is a full-on 30-year movie series. But it's worth the while. I loved The Dark Knight Rises. I don't watch it much, because I usually don't even have the time slot to do that. Neither do I have it for The Dark Knight, but, you know, I still watch it when I have the chance. But it's how you have to lock yourself in. But I still really love The Dark Knight Rises. It's definitely among my 10 favorite comic book movies of all time. I'm saying it's better than Batman Begins. So if I were to rank them, it would be the worst of the Dark Knight trilogy. Worst would be Batman Begins. Then it will go Dark Knight Rises, and the best is The Dark Knight because it's The Dark Knight. So yeah, I give The Dark Knight Rises a 9 out of 10. What do you guys think on The Dark Knight Rises? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and goodbye. Bye.